The inclusion of only 5 nominees from the Southeast geopolitical zone in the ministerial nominees list have generated more concerns and dominated the discussion about the list of 48 nominees that President Bola Tinubu sent to the upper chambers of the National Assembly. The breakdown of the ministerial nominees show that the other 5 geopolitical zones apparently got more ministerial slots than the 5 President Tinubu just allocated to the Southeast zone. While the Northwest has 10 nominees, with Kano, Kebbi, Katsina enjoying 2 slots each, the Southwest has 9 slots, comprising Ogun 3, Lagos 2, and Northeast got 8, with Taraba and Bauchi given 2 slots each. For a conversation on the standing of the Southeast in Tinubu's administration, let's now turn to APC chieftain and former member representing the Ukuano, Umahia North and South Federal Constituency at the House of Representatives, Sam Onigbo. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. It's a pleasure to have you on Arise News.
Thank you very much indeed.
Well, we just read the breakdown of the allocations by the zones, and clearly the Southeast feels disgruntled with the allocations as there have been. In your opinion, what can the president's administration do in order to pacify some of these calls and worries? And what could be the repercussions of not addressing any of these issues concerning the Southeast?
Thank you very much. There are a number of things that I think can be done. Some are immediate. Some are in the future, just in the near future. But first, it's also important to acknowledge that we'll be able to get there. And the reason I say this is because the foundation over the years has been wrong. And that foundation is that the Southeast is not supposed to have 5 states. Because if you check in the other geopolitical zones, the Northwest has 7. The rest of the geopolitical zones have 6. It's only the Southeast that has 5 states. So even if you are doing 1 minister per state, Southeast will still fall short, at least by 2 when compared to Northwest. That's one. So that's something we're going to address in the near future using constitutional amendments to be able to create a state, at least to balance the Southeast to have 6 states. The other thing is that I would like to speak on is to first also acknowledge that, yes, in line with Section 14.3 of the Constitution, you have to ensure that you balance appointments to achieve unity and fairness. But I also know that in the last 8 years, we were outside the security chief limit. That is either chief of army staff, police chief, and all that. And this administration has started well by ensuring that the Southeast now has a member of the chiefs of the armed forces. So it is my appeal now to the president, who is a listening president, because even right now, I'm also an appointee of that Mr. President to represent the Southeast in the Northeast Development Commission. So it is my appeal to him that as we go forward, he'll be able to look at these requests, these appeals that have been made by our senators and also made by the Onigbo and so many other persons, and then ensure that Southeast is fairly represented. The reason I'm saying so is because over the years, even when I was in the House, we have been making the appeal for an additional state to be created for the Southeast. Where you have the states and the local governments are the things that are used as a foundation for distribution of positions whether you go to the Senate or you go to the House of Reps. But when you have a shortfall from the beginning, that's a major, major bad foundation that you cannot easily repair. So I want to thank the president, one, for being able to appoint the Chief of Naval Staff from the Southeast. Like I said before, for 8 years, we were making this request, and it was never, listened to, or it fell on deaf ears. Now that we have made it very clear that, look, this shortfall is not in our favor. It is my appeal, just going along with the appeal made by other people, that this will be looked into. But again, we have a saying in Igbo land, that when you praise someone who is preparing the bean porridge, we call it akede. If you praise him for the one that he has prepared, he's going to be encouraged to prepare more for you. So I've acknowledged the appointments of our brothers and sisters as ministers, and I have also acknowledged that it's a positive sign that we now have a member of the Armed Forces Chiefs, that's the Chief of Naval Staff. And I'm going to conclude by saying, look, I'm believing that as we go forward, this will be corrected, because we need to correct it. And I know that our president is a listening president.
Now, Honorable Onigbo, I'd like you to react to comments by APC chieftain Osita Okechukwu, who says that the perceived marginalization of the Southeast should be blamed on Southeast leaders, as they were quite petty in their lobby strategy. He also believed that their refusal to support the emergence of an Igbo president, led to this perceived marginalization. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I didn't read what Osita Okechukwu said. And, sometimes we express personal opinions. But what I have been able to respond to first is the question that you asked. And you derive those questions from resolutions passed by leaders. One, you talk of senators who are the elected representatives of the people. And we also talked about the reaction or presentations or petitions by the Ohanese and Igbo. Unfortunately, I didn't read his comment. But let me put it this way. The reason we have a constitutional government, or why we fight to have a democratic government with a tenure or time frame as advocated by people like James Harrington, and later expanded by Montesquieu and some of the followers, is that people come and go. But you have to try and put a structure in place so that that structure does not allow for unfair treatment, or when you look at it from a distance, you would see right there that everyone is fairly treated. So, but I've also made the point that some people have come and gone. We're in office for 8 years, and we didn't get any attention despite our protestations. So this time, I am hopeful that we are going to look forward towards ensuring that we achieve that which is in the interest of the Southeast. And we are not going to really, begin to spend so much time talking about maybe whatever personal expression that somebody made. Unfortunately, I didn't read it myself. So it's difficult to really respond to that.
All right. Well, thank you for that. Isn't it a little bit too, in your opinion, it seems that there's some marginalization going on, but we do know that the president has not finished reeling out his lists of assistants and other people that are working in his cabinet. So is it maybe just a little bit too early to rule out complete Southeast marginalization?
I'm sure you listened to me very well, very clearly. And I said, you praise the man who is preparing akidi. It's a kind of porridge that made it from beans.
So this is encouragement.
You praise him for the one he has prepared, so that he'll be able to do, prepare more for you. So now that the president has demonstrated, I've drawn two parallels here. For 8 years, we said we didn't have no police chief, no chief of army staff, no chief of naval staff or air force. But now this president has come, has been able to appoint that, and has appointed 5 ministers. Okay. But we are saying that we would like to see a situation where we have more ministers. After doing the 5-5, we also do regional ministers, for the regional geopolitical zones. We know that he has not finished. And the particular thing, what I would like to say, or what I would like to do, is to commend him for the ones that he has done and encourage him to be able to do more. He has just started. This is August. He came in May 29th, June, July, this August. So I'm hopeful that with these protestations, that he'll be able to listen and do these things. Like I said here, he's a listening president. If I didn't disclose to you, you probably wouldn't have known that I'm sitting on the board of Northeast Development Commission representing the Southeast. And that's an appointment directly from Mr. President. So we are going to go believing that we'll be able to make some kind of improvement going forward. We have to commend him for the ones he has done and urge him to do more.
Well, thank you very much for that. Now, apart from the Southeast, fighting for inclusion in this government, women are also fighting for inclusion. People with disabilities, the youths, they're also fighting for inclusion in this government. So how would you advise this current administration to go, about including, being inclusive for all Nigerians?
Thank you very much indeed. I think I looked at the statistics. I don't know whether, is it 8 or 7 women or so that we have out of the 48. That's a sign that we probably have many more women in this administration. Well, we are not going to limit positions to those who are on the ministerial list. We're also going to have ambassadorial postings. We're also going to have chairman of boards and heads of parastatals. That way, I know that balancing will continue. It would be a bit premature to conclude right now that this government is not going to reflect all this. Let me also give you an instance. The Climate Change Act, which I sponsored, we provided for all this. Women coming from Ministry of Women Affairs, and then women sitting on the council on their own. Youths, people with disability. All these things are going to be implemented as we go forward. So we're going to deal with the laws, and we're going to deal with other things that are coming as a result of ideas that are put forward or pressures that are coming from certain groups. I think it will be premature to conclude now that, certain segments of the society that are critical to running a government that reflects the views, feelings of the people, that they have already been excluded. I think we'll be able to get there.
All right, Honorable, thanks for that. Well, your party, the APC, just recently celebrated 10 years. How well, in your opinion, has the APC performed in the last 10 years? And how well do you think Nigerians have fared under the leadership of your party?
Thank you very much indeed. First is to commend the party and the leadership of the party, and also Nigerians that entrusted leadership of the country into the hands of APC. That in a period of 10 years, since APC came into power, APC has been able to rule for 8 unbroken years, and now is going into the 9th year out of 10. So it is something worthy of recognition, commendation, and even emulation. On how the party has fared, let me come from the angle of infrastructure. I know that I come from the Southeast. I know that before now, traveling from Enugu to Umuahia to Port Harcourt used to take about 3 hours to get to Umuahia, which today we spend 1 hour, 20 minutes, 1 hour, 30 minutes to get to Enugu. Why? Because the road from Enugu to Umuahia to Port Harcourt has been done. At least I know, and I drive through that road. But that was something that the PDP could not fix for a period of 16 years. So that's one instance. Then second, we have had the Second Niger Bridge completed. And we are working on the Lagos-Ibadan Express. These are critical infrastructure. We're also working on Abuja-Kaduna-Kano Express. You need this infrastructure to be able.
Well, it seems we've lost connection with Honorable Sam Onigbo. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.